Charter School Advisory Board works to ensure the existence of high-quality charter schools in North Carolina. Ethics statements. Board members are reminded that it is their duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the advisory board. Does any member of the advisory board know of any conflict or of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. I will be recusing from Power Elite and Go Big.
And Madam Chair, Hilda Parley recuses from Wake Preparatory Academy.
Madam Chair, this is First Friend. I'll be recusing myself from Wake Preparatory Academy.
If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the agenda in 1 second. Okay, this is our agenda for today. We will start with approval of the agenda and minutes. We have a 2021 meeting calendar to review. We have several amendments. S.E. May Kaiser Fox will come for a presentation. Three Rivers Academy will have a presentation, and then we will begin our interviews. We have Power Elite Male Academy, Central Carolina Academy, a lunch break, and then we will conclude with Impact Leadership Academy and Triad Math and Science Academy. The following day, on Tuesday, our agenda will be primarily applications. So we will have Melanie give us an introduction, and then we have 4 interviews: Bonnie Cone Leadership Academy, American Leadership Academy, the Soaring Eagle Academy, Great Opportunities Boarding School for Girls, and then we will have a renewal financial report and several renewal school interviews.
Thank you, Ashley. So let's start with the approving the minutes from the past, approve the agenda for today. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for today? For today and tomorrow.
Make a motion that we approve its agenda.
And Hilda Parley seconds.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, let's look at the minutes from last month. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Cheryl, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes with one minor major change that Ashley was taking care of.
Okay.
Yes, I've changed that for you, Sherry.
Okay.
Second, Heather McCann. Okay.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes with the one change that Ms. Reeves has mentioned. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, Ashley.
Okay, the next item is another administrative sort of item. This is our 2021 calendar, and the board members have all received this calendar. I have not received any feedback or concerns. So if we could, if there's any discussion or if we could approve it today, that would be great. You can see that it's set up like we've done in the past, where we meet the following week after state board meets. So I have the state board meetings on this far column, and then our meetings. Most of them are 2-day meetings, with the exception of the summer, in which we usually do 1 day in June. July is always to be decided based on the Summer Charter Institute. And then in August, we usually do not have a meeting. Sometimes we will have a special call meeting, but not a regularly scheduled meeting. Are there any questions or discussion on this item?
Can I get a motion to approve the meeting calendar for 21-22?
Yes, Madam Chair, Hilda Parley moves to approve.
I'll second Heather Buchanan.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the meeting calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
we're ready for amendments.
Great. Well, we are going to jump right into amendments. We have 6 amendments today, so several to discuss. I'm actually going to start with the non-weighted lottery amendments. So the first request I would like to bring to the Charter Schools Advisory Board is Wake Preparatory Academy's second delay request. And I do have, and once I give the introduction, if you have more detailed questions that I'm unable to answer, I do have representation today from the Wake Preparatory Academy board and from Charter One, who is their partner. Wake Preparatory Academy was scheduled to open this year in Wake County. They partner with Charter One as their EMO, and they are currently in a 1-year delay, and up to now had been scheduled to open in the fall of 2021. They are now requesting a 2nd-year delay to open in fall 2022. In their materials, they have, in their cover letter, they did lay out the reasons for this additional 1-year delay. And those reasons are as follows. The site plan and the subdivision applications were denied by the Board of Commissioners for the town of Wake Forest. The grounds for denial warranted an appeal to the Superior Court, and that timeline for approval being no sooner than March 2021. There are no facilities large enough to house the student population as a temporary facility. The option for multiple temporary facilities is logistically unsustainable. And after lengthy analysis by Charter One, School Development East, and the Wake Preparatory Academy Board of Directors, the decision to delay until fall 2022 is the most cost efficient and in the best interest of the families. They currently have an interest list exceeding 4,000 households and representing approximately 6,000 students. I'm gonna move down just a few pages to show you what the enrollment and grade levels would look like upon opening if this is approved. As you can see here now, year 1 is 0 because that's where they are currently in their delay. If this year 2 delay is approved, they will open in year 3 with K through 12 and 1,620 students. I know there are representatives here. If you have further questions or any questions you would like me to try to address.
Ashley, this is Heather Buchanan. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are 2 applications that we'll be reviewing during November's meetings from Charter One with population first year student enrollment kind of as high as this or even higher.
I'm not familiar with the enrollment in those applications, but you are correct. On Tuesday, we will review Bonnie Cone Leadership Academy and American Leadership Academy, and those are both Charter One applications. I have not reviewed those particular applications, so I can't speak to the enrollment.
Yes,
So-
both
I'm
of them.
sorry.
Heather, this is Sherry. Both of them proposed starting at 1525 K10.
Okay. And so follow up. Also, we approved Wake Prep, Bonnie Cone, the original Bonnie Cone, if you will, was approved as well. That one is in operation, correct?
Yes, they are in operation.
So that's the only school they have in operation, but there's no data from that school yet.
No, there should not be data at this point for that school.
Okay.
And I believe that's the only school in North Carolina they operate.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions, and I need to think about some things. Thanks.
This is Cheryl. Generally, I'm not highly in favor of a 2-year delay. However, in this particular situation, I think that they need to have the time to pursue the legal avenues to see if they can get the school open in Wake Forest. They do have some legitimate legal claims, and I think we need to give them the opportunity to pursue that.
You know, Cheryl, that kind of leads to a question for me. So I know the school, this board wants to open the Wake Forest area. So are they going to pursue other areas while they're going through the pending court case? I mean, what happens if it gets tied up in court for over a year? You know, that's just my concern. If they are trying to stay to the Wake Forest area.
Could we
Can
get
somebody
someone-
from the school respond to that?
Hi, yes, this is Kyle Schrager, Board Vice President for Wake Prep. I appreciate the question and thanks for the opportunity to respond. That's a very fair question, and part of our contingency facility planning efforts are trying to kind of develop, you know, what resolutions we would have if that were the circumstances. However, based on, you know, our attorney's feedback and the court process that's conducted through the appeal, we're pretty confident that would be an extreme circumstance and low risk for it to continue beyond that process. Based on, you know, my understanding and the feedback that I've received from all of our partners, Charter One, our EMO, School Dev East, our developer, and their attorney, and even being purview to the town planning board sessions, the quasi judicial hearing, the evidence and the expert testimony that was presented is what the basis would have to fall on for the appeal process. And given what was presented and everything that was laid out along the four guiding lines that the town policy and UDO process is going to be judged upon, we are very confident that this would resolve within the expected timeline over the next few months based on the appeal process at hand. The only way that would happen to go into the year, beyond that year timeline, would be for the town to appeal, which is a highly unlikely situation that we would anticipate. And that would be something that we'd have to review with our partner's attorney on what that expected outcome would look like from a timeline perspective accordingly. So I don't know if that answers your question as pointed as you would like, but given what we know and the process ahead of us, that's kind of what I can advise based on the question.
Are you aware that the statute only allows 2 years of delay, and that if you're not able to open the second year, that the statute doesn't allow for a third year?
Yes, ma'am, and that's why our contingency facility planning, if we were to go into this second year delay, would account for the potential of a new site location given that extenuating circumstance. Right now, you know, contingency facility planning is underway with our partners, and it's within the city limits of Wake Forest. So if we were to go into that process and have the timeline necessary to have a contingency plan outside of Wake Forest city limits, that would be the situation that would allow for us to plan for that circumstance.
Any other question? Do we have a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion. I move
Sorry,
that.
I'll make a motion, Cheryl, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't get my fingers to the button. I'll make a motion that we approve Wake Preparatory's second year delay.
This is Lynn Kroger. I'll second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve a second year delay for Wake Forest Preparatory Academy. Ashley, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Jeanette Butterworth,
Aye.
Joel Ford, I see him on here, but Joel, if you want to vote in the chat box, you can. Bruce Friend.
A reminder, I'm recusing myself, Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Lynn Kroger,
Approve.
Alex Quigley,
Aye.
Sherry Reeves,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner, Heather Van Cannon,
Aye.
okay, the motion passes. And just a reminder to everyone, thanks Joel, I got your vote. You will have to unmute yourself if you are automatically muted when you enter. So if you need to speak, just remember to unmute yourself. And if you're having technical difficulties, you can always talk to me in the chat box. All right, thank you, Wake Preparatory Academy. We will follow up with you regarding State Board in the next month. The next amendment request we have comes from Aristotle Preparatory Academy. So let me get my things. Aristotle Preparatory Academy has been operating since 2013. They are based in Charlotte and currently serving K-7. They are seeking approval to employ Charter 1 as their new EMO. They have included in their cover letter the reasons for seeking Charter 1's experience, including the EMO's experience with the curriculum that they use, and also with their ability to assist them in the management of the school. And they have also included the service contract and board meeting minutes and the other required materials. Are there any questions on this amendment request?
Ashley, can you give us a little history about Aristotle? I mean, are they struggling?
They have previously been a low performing school. So I wouldn't say they are, they definitely have academic improvement to make, but they have, I've been to the school several times for their low performing site visits, and they have a leader that is very, I think, very dedicated and passionate about improving the academic outcomes for the school. They have not had any financial or governance type of issues that we are aware of. So I think it's a matter of just having more assistance. They had previously worked with CFA, and I think they are looking for more guidance and more help with the day-to-day management of the school.
So with Charter 1, that would be theirs is a flat percentage, right? Like 15% or something.
15%.
Is there anybody from the school there? I'd like to know how that compares with what they were paying, and how's that going to affect their budget?
I do not know if we have anybody from the school for this one on here.
Did they
I don't think CFA paid. I don't think they paid a management fee. I know for CFA that was part of the thing. It was a non-profit, and they never paid a management.
Well, but if you remember, CFA became a management company, and I think Aristotle was the very first school that they took on as a management company.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so those are all good questions. And if there's nobody on here to answer them, what's the next best thing?
This is Heather Van Cannon. I'm not comfortable approving this amendment without knowing the specifics about how it impacts their budget, what's going to be provided, because in some of the other applications, the 15% still does not cover financial prep and all of those things like payroll. So if without a representative and without seeing the numbers, I'm not comfortable myself approving this amendment.
Yeah, I would like to see a budget with the EMO and their fees, et cetera, in the budget. Especially since it's just, the school's been in existence since 2013. And now adding an EMO with a high fee. I'm just curious.
Okay, we can definitely, well, we do have a representative from Charter One. I don't know if that helps you, but I don't believe that the leader or the board from Aristotle is here. So we could bring this back in December if that's what you prefer.
That would be preference.
We don't need to talk to the management company. We need to talk to the board
Right.
and approve it.
Okay, I can bring those requests back to Aristotle and have a representative from the board appear in December to talk more about the financial implications.
Please ask them to have a copy to prepare for us what the budget will look like with Charter One in it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yep, I can do that, no problem. All right, so we will move on to the remaining amendments, and I was going to do these in a group if possible. There are 4 weighted lottery requests. They are all 4 of the schools are actually NC Access Expansion Grant recipients. So they're similar in that way. The first school is American Renaissance School, and this is a rather small school, a K-8 charter school in Statesville. Their expansion goal. So all of these schools, as part of the NC Access grant, they all set goals within their NC Access application, within their narrative and what they are trying to reach in terms of that program's goals. And for American Renaissance, they are hoping to double their population of economically disadvantaged students within the 5 years of the program. So that is that school's goal. Are there, in all of these schools?
What's their current, Ashley, what's their current? They're doubling to?
They're currently 96 students out of about 659.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are seeking to double theirs. Any questions on American Renaissance School? All of the schools that come to our office, which is, as you know, has become much more prevalent for weighted lottery requests, work with us to to craft their policy and to make sure that they have an idea of how to actually implement weighted lottery. The goals really, are something that the school and the board sets. And in these 4 cases, they have been set through part of their NC Access grant program. The second school is Alpha Academy. This is a charter school operating in Cumberland County, and they currently serve grades K through 11. They have a very high economically disadvantaged population currently. Currently, they serve 70% economically disadvantaged, 12% students with disabilities, and 7% English language learners. So their goal, as they increase their enrollment over the next 5 years, is to maintain and increase slightly their educationally disadvantaged population. So as you heard before, they're really over 80% when you include the students with disabilities. They want to maintain 80% educationally disadvantaged students as they increase their enrollment.
Ashley, is there a minimum for the NC Access grant that they have to? They say they're doing a weighted lottery. Is there a minimum percentage of EDS students?
I do not. I don't believe so. I believe it's part of their application that they, they explain where they are, how they are coming up with this percentage. And as you will see with these 4 schools, it really, varies based on the number of educationally or economically disadvantaged kids that they already have. So for some schools like Alpha Academy that already has a fairly high percentage, they really try to seek to, possibly increase a little bit, but really to maintain that over the years where they are adding students. And then for other schools, it really, have a low population of economically disadvantaged or educationally disadvantaged students, they really work to try to, target their marketing and their support and to increase that population in general. So that is Alpha Academy. The third school, again, this is an expansion subgrantee through the NC Access program, is Lakeside Charter Academy. They opened in August 2014 in Cornelius, North Carolina. And they are another small school. They serve about just over 200 students, 215 K to 8 students. They, in their NC Access grant, they set in a 5-year kind of tiered goal, and they actually, without the weighted lottery this year, they've already met that goal. So currently this year, they have 47% of students meeting the educationally disadvantaged target. You can see in their materials that were submitted that they are trying to reach 48% by 2024. And I did speak to the leader there, since they have already come really close to meeting that 5-year goal. They are hoping to continue to grow that population. Any questions on Lakeside Charter Academy? And then finally, we have Lincoln Charter School. They have a Denver, North Carolina campus and a Lincolnton, North Carolina campus. They are a K-12 college prep school, one of the first charter schools, I believe, founded in 1998, and one of our larger schools at over 2,200 students. They are looking to expand their economically disadvantaged population. They currently have less than, it looks like 20% of the population, and their goal is by year 5 that they will reach 31% of the population being economically disadvantaged. Are there
Actually,
any?
is that the combination of both campuses?
Yes.
So my question is, schools like Lincoln Charter, Alpha, they probably have very little turnover. So, how do you increase if you're not getting new students? I guess it's just a thinking out loud.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know in the case of Alpha Academy, they, as they increase their general population through just enrollment expansions that they are allowed each year, that they're hoping to continue to draw that high population. Clearly they are already reaching a high population. With Lincoln Charter being that they do not serve a high population of low-income students, they are really working on trying to target those communities and the specific needs of that population. They also spoke a bit in their application about in their weighted lottery application about the grades that they tend to see the most openings, I guess, and that's K6 through 9, and 6 and 9, and so they hope that by having the weighted lottery, that they can get students that are meeting the economically disadvantaged criteria in those 3 grades, which would impact their kindergarten or their elementary, their middle, and their high schools.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
So those are your 4 weighted lottery requests. Are there any further questions on those?
I'll make a motion that we approve the weighted lottery request for American Renaissance, Alpha Academy, Lakeside Charter, and Lincoln Charter.
And Hilda Parlay seconds.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the weighted lottery request for Lincoln Charter, Alpha Academy, Lakeside Charter, and American Renaissance. Ashley, could you take the roll, please?
Yes. Jeanette Butterworth?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Bruce Friend?
Aye.
Lynn Kroger?
Aye.
Hilda Parlay?
Aye.
Alex Quigley?
Aye.
Sherry Reeves?
Aye.
Cheryl Turner?
Aye.
Heather Van Cannon?
Aye.
All right, it passes. Okay, moving on. We are now moving to Essie Mae Kaiser Fox. They have been asked to present today to respond to a financial noncompliance status that was sent to the school in October. It has been posted on eBoard and you can see it here. That is of October 9th, 2020. The LGC has not received their audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending in June 2019. They've been placed on noncompliance disciplinary status, and to my knowledge, they have not turned in an audit as of today. So about a month after this was released. I believe we have a representative from the school who can speak in just a bit. We also pulled their PMR for the schools presenting today, so you can see here the principal's monthly reports for the first year. It looks like they started with 124 students, and at the month last day, there was a count of 99 students. So we can open up discussion about this, or I can have them speak first, whatever you think would be best, Ms. Turner.
Ashley, let's let them speak first, and then we'll ask any questions if we have them.
Okay, great. I believe Ms. Finster, are you here?
Good morning, everyone. I am present today. I also have my board of director chairperson, Ms. Tina Fox Wallace, as well as my board treasurer, Ms. Ruby Steele. And then also we have online should be our auditor, Wilson Asua.
Okay, would you like to maybe speak to the audit? What's happened to the audit?
Yes.
Actually, before we get to that, can we just have clarity on how many board members are new or have appeared before us before? And if they're new, when they join?
We have no new board members that are on this call.
Okay, great. Also, this is just a point of order. The chat box is not, the board members should not be responding to questions or using the chat box unless, you're asked a direct question. So if we ask you a direct question and or ask you to respond in the chat box, that's fine. But otherwise, please don't write any messages to the board in the chat box.
Okay, Ms. Finster, would you like to go ahead and present? Or
Yes.
present from your board?
Yes, please. We have submitted to Ashley a timeline of events that occurred with our audit. On November 2019, we had a proposal out to ASUA's corporation for the audit. Because of the holidays, the actual meeting was postponed. We had it scheduled for February 2020. It was canceled on ASUA's behalf, the company, and they rescheduled it for the 27th of February of 2020. The meeting did occur on February 27th, 2020. And with that meeting, present were Ms. Ruby Steele, our board treasurer, and myself. On March 2020, began to upload the documents necessary for the audit process. And with that, we received an email stating that there was from Alexis Shouts about the audit. So therefore, we sent an email to our auditor to contact Alexis Shouts about the audit, and that was March 2020. ASUA said that he had left a message on March 16, 2020 to Alexis Shouts about the audit. And then we were requested additional audit codes to submit a consolidated financial statements, and that is a request from our auditor from the ASUA Corporation. He provided examples of what the consolidated financial statements should look like, and that was in March of 2020, the end of March. With that in mind, we resubmitted our actual consolidated financial statements at the request, and that was in the beginning of April 2020. And then ASUA said that it was not in the proper format. So he had added additional forms to the request and to the portal, and that was in April 23rd, 2020. And then from there, we submitted our additional forms that he requested in April 30th, 2020. After which, ASUA Corporation said that they needed additional forms, and that was May 6th, because they needed to have the understanding of entity and other 3 forms that they requested. So we sent our request, and we sent the additional forms that were requested in May of 2020. And then toward the end of May 22nd, we followed up about the status of our audit. On May 26, 2020, ASUA Corporation said that they didn't need additional documents at that time. But then on May 27th, 2020, they said they had questions about our audit. On May 29th, we provided additional information about the questions that he had about the audit. On June 15th, we had not heard anything, so we followed up about the status of our audit. And then on June 25th, he said there was additional information that he needed, so he uploaded forms for us to check into the portal. So we reviewed those, and we submitted the information that he requested to the parties which he had requested in July. Before then, it was still in June. Now, in July, we followed up with the actual auditor to find out if he received feedback from the parties, the third parties, and those third parties would have been any involvement, our former EMO, would have been also if we had any benefits outstanding, and then with our banking information. With that, our banking vendor actually did submit, but there was no submission or no communication from our former EMO or with the benefit section that was handled by our EMO. What we find out here, in August of 2020, there was additional questions from ASUA Corporation about the audit. And with that, from the August, he had additional questions. Still within August, we uploaded the additional information that he needed, and we requested a meeting in September because we knew that was getting closer time for our audit to be completed. So with that, he stated in September that it needed to be a single financial audit, and that was based on information that we had received from our DPI here. And with that, we requested a meeting to discuss that. We had signed a contract for him to handle our 2019-2020 audit, anticipating that we had the 2018-2019 completed because he had submitted an actual one-page to us about the results. So with that, the independent auditor report was uploaded into our portal that we had the direct communication from auditor to us about. And we have requested for the ESOL Corporation to submit the document to the state. And we had
Ms.
received,
Feemster?
yes.
Ms. Feemster, we actually have all these documents.
Okay.
So let me ask, is Alexis Schaus available to talk to us about this from Financial Business Services?
Good morning, this is Alexis Schaus.
Good morning.
Just to be clear, the auditor has been working with the local government commission to get the financial statements in a position that they can accept them. So the communications, I think it may have been unclear, a lot of these almost all these communications have been between the auditor and the local government commission, not with the Division of School Business. The local government commission does still have, they do have a draft. They're not in a position to release it at this time as it is in draft, and the audit does not meet the requirements to be able to be released.
Is it, Alexis, is it specific DPI kinds of requirements, that charter school kind of requirements, or is the audit just not an audit?
These are just requirements of a general financial statement audit and a single audit, which is the compliance section of the audit.
Thank you, Alexis.
Alexis, I have a question. So have we ever received an audit on this school?
The department has not received an audit on this school.
Did this school open in 2018?
So the first is correct. So the first year of their operation was 2018-19.
Okay. So
Well, I think I already know the answer to this question. Has your 2020 audit been submitted?
No, we've been working with our auditor. So the same auditor has the 2018, 2019 information, the 2019, 2020 information.
Speemster, what seems to be the issue? And so, I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth and submitting documents, etc. What is it that they seem to be missing from you guys? Is it, your monthly financial reports? Is it your bank statements? What's the issue?
We submitted our bank statements. We required information from our previous EMO, and at that time, they were handling our finances in 2018, 2019. So with that, the only that we had available was the information from Link, the school Link, and the formatting from school Link is whatever that was present there. So with that, ASUA has the Link access. He finally requested that information approximately a week before last year. Because we kept on telling him this is the only format that we have available in our school link.
Okay, and when, I know we severed ties with, your EMO was Torchlight, is that true?
That's correct.
Okay, what was the date that you were approved to sever ties with Torchlight?
June 30th of 2019. And actually, I think the board itself finally received their approval in October of 2019, if I recall that date correctly.
But Torchlight wasn't continuing to handle your funds at that point, correct?
Not after that date there. I have my board chair who can explain more of that.
So what's troubling is, okay, we understand there was this issue between you and Torchlight, the board and Torchlight, and so, you know, in a good scenario, you could throw the blame on them for 2019, but now we are November 9th, and your 2020 audit was due on. So you see what I'm saying? The precedence doesn't look good. Now you've got your second audit that is not, has not been submitted to the LGC.
I understand. We have hired a bookkeeper to help along with this, help work with our auditor. The external bookkeeper had provided the spreadsheet information that our auditor requested, which was the actual description of requested amounts from the audited financial statements. So we have a spreadsheet of which he had sent out to us saying that he needed completed there. Our bookkeeper that we consulted with, we have that person on contract, actually provided the information within approximately 2 weeks. So with that, he has that information from our bookkeeper.
So do you, what's your balance in your checking account right now? Do you know?
Approximately 31,000. And keeping in mind,
What's your monthly payroll?
approximately 68,000 for our monthly payroll.
So you don't have enough money in the account to pay payroll this month?
Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
So with a balance in your checking currently of 31,000, you would not have the funds in your account to make your payroll this month. Is that correct?
We have actually local funds that we will receive also this month, approximately 22,465 or approximately 23, somewhere around that range that we receive.
Okay, so that brings you up to 53, so you're still short, and that doesn't cover any of the other, you know, your lights, you know, those just day-to-day cost. Was your budget adjusted? Has the board adjusted the budget since the start of school? Because it looks like you've lost about 25 students, which would have a huge impact on your budget.
With that, we have, for the end of the month that you had 99. For our current time period, we have 105 students.
But what's your 20-day ADM, or do you know what your hold harmless figure was? What are you being financed on this year? Maybe Shouse knows that.
I don't I can look that up quickly, but this year the average daily membership is 100, and in last year it was 111. So it will be at least 111.
111, okay. Thank you, Alexis.
Alexis, they are currently on month-to-month?
Yes, due to the disciplinary action, yes. So, so we provided them their first installment, and then when we do all the recalculation from now on until the end of the year, they will be monthly state installments. So
How much are they getting a month?
I can get that to you. I can provide you that last year, their total state funding was $676,000.
Okay.
Last year for our month and month, it was approximately 72,000 that we received.
And then you receive about 23,000 a month from local?
Correct.
72 state. What day do you get that funding?
From which one? You talking about the local funding?
The state, because I know locally, that's just dependent on whenever they cut the check, but your state drop, when do you typically get that on a monthly basis?
From approximately about the third week of the month.
Okay, and I'm assuming payroll's at the end of the month.
Correct.
Board, I'd like to make a suggestion. I think that we need to consult with legal concerning this, and we have a closed session scheduled for the end of the day. So I would like to put off making a decision about this until we've had a chance to consult with legal. Does anybody else have any burning questions that they need answered?
This is Mr. Friend. I was going to ask the question about the enrollment. I just want to make a statement. I mean, we're all on this board because we believe it's school choice and high quality charters that are attainable. I'm failing to understand how a school that can miss 2 consecutive audits. I do not understand that. And if it's the audit problem, then the board needs to get rid of the auditor. That's my statement.
I would echo Bruce's statement and also say that, you know, reading through the documents really indicates just a failure on the school's part to meet the expectations that are required to produce a clear audit, not an unqualified audit, because whether or not the audit is going to have findings is irrelevant. The auditor has been unable to even get to that place because the school has not provided in a timely fashion what is required.
I'm sorry. May I interject there? Our information that we...
No, I'm speaking. I am done. All of I cannot, the number of people on this board that have been through this process, we know this process. It's not that complicated. And it's evident from the reading of the document that the school is not producing materials necessary for an audit. There's really nothing else to say about it.
I have to agree. I think I see a combination of things. I see that, first of all, that it was already March before this process even started, but the audit had been due in October. And then lots of, we need more documents, we need more documents, we need more documents from the auditor. And then when we get near the end, it appears that the auditor wasn't totally familiar with how charter audits are done. And is trying to work through that process, all of that a year plus after the audit is due. I don't know, and there are 200 plus charter schools, and nobody else has managed to go 2 years without getting their audit in. About getting, and we're a first year school, so we have no idea how this school is doing financially. I find that extremely concerning. If there are no other questions, I'm going to thank SEMA's representatives, and we'll move on through the agenda, and we will take this up with our attorneys in closed session at the end of the day. Okay, Ashley, let's go.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Three Rivers Academy. So part of the assumption that took place, I believe a year or two ago, with Heritage Collegiate, the state board put a stipulation that Three Rivers appear before the CSAB every November to report on basically an update on how they're doing academically, financially, and governance-wise. So Three Rivers did submit a report. If you downloaded the one that was on there yesterday, there have been some minor adjustments they asked me to update. So this is the one on eBoard currently is the most updated one. And I believe Mr. McQueen is here to give this presentation and answer any questions you may have.
I am here, Ashley. Thank you. And also Mrs. Clemenson, who is part of the leadership team and tactical team from Torchlight, the school, and assisted teachers and Dr. Holland with some of the progress that was made there. So we are here to prepare to answer any questions you might have.
My understanding is that you were required to make a presentation. That's what I was expecting. Is that not the case?
Oh, well, yes, ma'am. We are prepared to make our presentation.
Please do.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Overall, our school has faced some of the same challenges as many have with the COVID. But as you can see in the report, we had developed internal documents and test results to develop report cards, grades for students, and to judge where our students were academically last year and compare them to what future is, benchmark them earlier on. And so I'd like Mrs. Clemenson to kind of address the work that was done there and on an academic front. And then I'll address some of the other questions that were posed to us.
Good morning. I'm Shelley Ann Clements, fifth grade teacher at Torchlight Academy. The partnership between Torchlight and Three Rivers, we were poised for success in the 2019-2020 academic year. And some strategies that we had previously spoken of and implemented in partnership with Three Rivers were pair coaching, shared lesson plans, the use of SchoolNet to prepare tests for Three Rivers, standardized procedures such as the use of on-ramp and cubes with ELA and math, respectively. We have also implemented the use of ICANN statements to reflect standards that were being taught and what students should know at the end of lessons, anchor charts for reflecting standards being taught, and exit tickets. We also added training in some Teach Like a Champion techniques, and these techniques covered lesson structure, systems and routines, and building character and trust. Although we were interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, the data that we provided for the 2019-2020 indicated an overall growth of 43% in ELA and 34% in math. And these data were from the 2018-19 EOG and from check-ins that we had done in 2019-2020. We'll continue to employ the strategies that we utilize in the 2019-2020 academic year. And this year, we have also included, along with the previously spoken of strategies, we have also included the iReady and Imagine Learning applications to further assist our students in reading, and that's ELA and math respectively. And these applications, the iReady and Imagine Learning, are centered, they cater to the K-8 student population, and they utilize research-based strategies that not only diagnose where the students are academically, but they're prescriptive in manner. And the purpose of implementing these applications are geared towards students' academic growth. And we continue to work to achieve, as outlined in our school improvement plan, 10% increase in ELA proficiency, 10% increase in math proficiency, 10% increase in student engagement, and with our ultimate goal being 100, 100, 100. Thank you.
As far as the performance with respect to financial, our audit we submitted last year for 2019 showed a surplus of about $25,000. This year we expect somewhere along the same lines, maybe better. Our auditor is in the middle of preparing our audit for the 2020 1920 school year, and we should have that in a timely manner. I think audits are given pushback to, I think, sometime early in January to allow for more time because of COVID-19 concerns. As you know, we were challenged with our certificate of occupancy, which we secured in the middle of September, and we're well on our way. And had, as we were before, continuing to serve the children in our community. And that is still an ongoing. Right now, we're 100% remote, but we plan to return to in-person instruction after receiving surveys and discussions with our parents about who would be returning or desire to return to school for in-person instruction. And so right now, that number is still quite low. It's about 10% of the actual students and families who want to return for in-person instruction. But we are going to move forward with those 10% as a way to start the process of bringing students back to in-person instruction. Our facility is quite spacious and spread out, and we should have no problems with social distancing and the like. So I think that's pretty much the bulk of our report. We'll entertain any questions you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for Three Rivers?
I have a couple, Ms. Turner. So when we're talking about the data and the strategies that were put in place for 2019-20, and you were comparing that to students from 2018-19, my question is, how many of those students that you were working with last year actually returned this year?
Well, that is a very good question. I would have to do a bit of analysis. The school moved significantly, and while most of those students did return, I believe there are a group of new students that are there. But I could certainly provide that for this board maybe before you end today. Okay,
and so the other question, Mr. McQueen, is you're 100% remote still. So what type of benchmark testing were you able to do for Q1?
Mm-hmm. Well, we started kind of late, being around September 15th. And the teachers right now are using a variety of methods. We had a discussion about this last week. And it was the SchoolNet tests that were done, and also some online type of assessments going on ongoing. Yes, Ms. Limison.
So they have also used the iReady and Imagine Learning applications along with SchoolNet.
But they're doing that from home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You haven't had any of the students come in and do, so you didn't utilize the special edition test?
No, ma'am. No, we did not. Our students, being a rural area, it's a pretty far distance, and there's still some concerns about COVID and folks coming in person. And then, as you make the point, I believe that we're finding parents helping students with tests and other things, and so we're not feeling very comfortable about getting real accurate data
Yeah, that's true. That's why. I mean, you know, Mr. McLean, we're in a very rural area also, but we did require them to come in just for testing. And we had almost 100%. So
Oh, excellent.
I'm just worried that you don't have a good baseline for this year. So just you'll have to keep a pulse on that.
Yes, ma'am. And I'd like to find out if you ran into any challenges or how you did that. I would certainly like to speak to you offline because that is something we'd like to do. Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, bottom line is in our virtual contract, we told parents that state testing was, there would be instances of benchmark and state testing and they were mandatory and they had to come in. And so they've obliged.
Did they do it all in one day at one session, or was there some kind of spread in order to keep distance?
Yes, the virtual students we had come in on the days when the other students were not here, and we were able to spread them out.
Yes, ma'am.
But with your population being so small, I wouldn't foresee that being an issue.
Right. No, I don't think so.
Now, Ms. Turner, I have a question. I think we have a letter from FBS on Three Rivers also. Are we going to discuss that?
I couldn't unmute, sorry. Yes, let's move to that. Letter regarding ECATs and the use of ECATs. Can you please speak to that?
Yes. There was a bit of a problem with ECAT. Some students were in, some students were not. I understand that it was just challenges with entering the data and that it was, that's where it all laid. Right now, we worked through that over the weekend and it should be completely up to date. All of our EC students are in ECAS.
Is there anybody on the line from Exceptional Children?
No, there is not, but I did ask them to stand by, so I could certainly.
No, I didn't mean you. I should have said DPI Exceptional.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Children.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McLean, how many students do you have that have an IEP that are in your would be in ECATs?
17.
17, okay.
Cheryl, this is Ashley. I don't believe anyone from EC is on the line. But I know that they're definitely keeping an eye on this to make sure that it's remedied so that they can have their students with disabilities, count on the December 1st child count.
That's right.
Which is critical.
Yes.
Absolutely critical. All right, well, if you had taken care of that, that should solve your problems, and that would be a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions for Three Rivers? Thank you very much, Mr. McLean, for your report.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
All right, so we are moving now to the November interviews. Let me pull up Melanie's presentation and we can get started.
Okay. All right, good morning, Chairman Quigley, Ms. Turner, the entire CSAB and the OCS team. Welcome to the November charter applicants. My name is Melanie Rackley with the Office of Charter Schools, and I will facilitate the interview process. As we convene virtually over the next 2 days, I will provide an overview for the process. And so, Ashley, you can give them the overview on that next slide. So we'll go over the statutes and the state board policies, that guiding process. We'll look at the 2020 application process and do some application updates, and then we'll close with any questions. Timely reminder that charter schools are public schools of choice that are authorized by the State Board of Education and operated by independent nonprofit boards of directors. Their state and local tax dollars are the primary funding sources for charter schools. which have open enrollment and cannot discriminate in admissions, associate with any religion or religious group, or charge tuition. Charter schools operate with freedom from many of the regulations that govern district schools, but it's timely to note that charter schools are held accountable through the state assessment and accountability system. So what we have here are listed governing laws and policies, and these are statutory and regulatory references which outlay the charter school authorizations. And then in accordance with public meeting law and North Carolina's commitment to open government, these references can be found easily on the web, and the Office of Charter School can also provide links to these resources upon request. And so here we have CHTR 12, the charter school application and review process, and again, General Statute 115C-218.2. What we're doing today is addressing the CSAB and then, the opportunity to correct the application. So that is there for a reference. And then we also have, where applicable, the fast track replication, and then the policy regarding the planning year. So these again are the statutory references. And quickly, if you can spend a few seconds looking at the roles and the responsibilities, we have the delineation here between the CSAB and the Office of Charter Schools. And what's important to note, quickly call your attention to the Charter School Advisory Board column here. There are today, upon hearing the interviews, there will be a choice to make one of three recommendations. The CSAB will have the opportunity to select, advance to the SBE for the approval, hold over for round 2 interviews, and then advance to SBE for denial. And if the round 2 interviews, which we do have 2 today, the options would be to advance to SBE for approval or advance to the SBE for denial. Okay, and then, yeah. And at a glance, looking at the 25 applications that were submitted for this current cycle, 2021, there were a total of 25 applications that were submitted. Right now, it looks like Wilson County, there was a charter applicant in Wilson County who withdrew voluntarily in order to allow for additional time to gain the evidence for community support and other feedback areas. So you will see a net 0 for Wilson County at this point. And that school was Empowerment Leadership Academy in Wilson. And the next slide, please. Okay, and just a overview of the November applications by committee. And you'll see in parentheses the committee lead for each school applicant board, and in red you'll actually have those second round interviews who will present and we'll hear from today. And then in December we have a total of 8 first round interviews, and so at a glance, and you can see who's on the lead of each school, and so all of those details are forthcoming. And then the round 2 interviews are still to be determined for January 2021, and they are pending results of October this month and the next month's meetings. And so as we proceed, what you're looking at is a 1 hour increment of time divided into smaller increments. What I will do is provide an introduction for the school, and when that committee lead is ready, we will move into that introduction. The applicant will then have time to make their introduction. Any opening statements. A note about that though is that in order to maximize our time, we would ask that you kind of limit the background detail. The board does have your CVs and resumes, so please limit background detail to only what is pertinent and just to maximize the interview time. And then committee lead will allow for full Q&A from the CSAB for about 25 minutes. And so we will keep a close watch on time. We will use the chat box to remind folks of their time constraint. And then there will be, applicants will have a chance to provide a closing statement, and then the full CSAB will deliberate. Don't know, right now if we want to just go ahead and mention the chat feature again. Only the applicant boards should really use that chat feature, but that can also maximize some time. Then there is a raise hand feature that you can use in your participant box. So if you do want to speak, please use the raise hand feature in your participant box. If we have any questions, we can take those now. Otherwise, we will move right into Power Elite Mail, and that is Ms. Reeves on the lead. And so when she's ready, we can begin.
All right, thank you, Melanie, and I am ready.
Okay, so what we have here, second round applicant here in Mecklenburg County. So what you see in red is their slated facility. And then you'll also see the LEA schools and the charter schools within a 6-mile radius. So you'll see that there's a legend there that you can actually review. And so what we have here, it looks like in year 1, grades K through 5, we have 150 students, which that breakdown is 40 students in grade K, and then 22 students in all the other grades. Year 2, they grow to 198, and then you'll see 232 in year 3. In year 4, 282, and then year 5 looks like 304. And noted that the capacity year is year 9, where they will still have the 40 in kindergarten and then 44 per grade for a maximum of 392. It looks like they double their middle school grades in year 6 through 9. They are providing food service, the National Lunch Program. Transportation is a yes. They will not use a weighted lottery. They have identified their facility. The no LEA impact has been submitted. They are a repeat applicant, and their EMO is Torchlight, and the completeness check is yes.
Okay, are you ready for me, Melanie?
I am ready.
So good morning, Power Elite Male Academy. Is Miss Gray available?
Good morning, I am.
Ms. Gray, would you like to get us started with your opening statement? I'm assuming you want to be the one to make the opening statement.
Actually, I'm going to allow Mr. Anthony Weeks, who's going to be our new vice president, president of the board, to make the opening statement. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Weeks.
Good morning. Can you all see me? Can you all see me?
Cannot see you. We can hear you.
Okay. It says my video is on, so it's not. Okay.
You have a little triangle with an exclamation point.
It says stop video, open video. Okay. It says start video. Okay. Is it starting?
We still can't see you, Anthony.
Oh gosh. I don't know why y'all can't see me.
You can speak.
Okay, I can speak. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Well, I want to say good morning. The presentation that you're about to hear this morning will demonstrate the need for a high-quality all-male charter academy. The strength of our educational plan program, the quality and commitment of a board and passion whose school design is served by a well thought out budget supported by an experienced management team. By the end of our presentation, I'm sure you will agree that we have met all the qualifications required to be approved for a charter school. We want to thank you for the opportunity to come back and answer some follow-up questions for the Power Elite Male Academy Charter School application. The Power Elite Board of Directors took into consideration the concerns expressed by the Charter School Advisory Board during the first interview. We identified the following areas without receiving a list from CSAB board as discussed during the first interview. However, we have prepared a list of topics of clarity for the CSAB board. The following items will include the following: computer costs, management contract, further explanation concerning LearnZillion, ratio of male students in the surrounding schools, and further evidence regarding enrollment projections. I want to thank you this morning.
Is that it, Mr. Weeks?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so just a reminder to charter school board members, last month when we were having our discussion on some of the questions that were coming up frequently were, the first one was around educational plan and in particular the curriculum. And I hope that you were able to review the document that was submitted. I believe Torchlight may have submitted that on their behalf, where they tried to respond to the questions that we had. There were also questions concerning the budget, basically dealt with the EMO, I guess the fee versus the other pieces that were line items in the budget. Apparently, when they revised the budget, they only removed the computer line item, if I'm reading correctly on the information that was submitted. So the budget has really not changed significantly. So if you have specific questions about the budget. And then a concern for, I know myself and a few others, was the survey data was very weak. And we are looking at a very particular population targeting the boys. And so we wanted more information on parent interest. I know the data that was submitted, it's Ms. Kara showing it here, where they give us the breakdown for male students, and particularly male students of color in each of the surrounding schools. So they're, positing that there's definitely the male population. So, I guess the question is, even though the males are there, is the parent interest there? And I think that was the question that we might have had regarding the survey. So, fellow board members, give me your thoughts and your questions for Mr. Weeks and Ms. Gray and the other board members that are present.
This is Mr. Friend. I think it's met a revised budget. What's different about this budget than the one that we saw last month?
So, Mr. Weeks, who is the treasurer of the board?
Hey, good morning. This is Guy Lawrence. I am the treasurer of the board.
Okay, so Lawrence, would you like to speak to how the budget has been changed from last month to this month?
So as you alluded to earlier, the only thing that we did was we took out the computer cost. Torchlight, in the contract, they said that they would provide the startup cost for the things that we would need to begin the school. Computers is one of those things. So we thought it would be efficient to actually take that out of the budget. The rest of the budget should remain the same.
Okay, Mr. Lawrence. So I know the document that we received was a response from representative from Torchlight explaining the relationship between the board and the EMO, but I want to hear from you as a board member, especially as a treasurer. what is your understanding of the relationship between your board and the EMO, particularly on, the fee structure? So I'll leave it at that and then ask further questions if I need to. So what is your understanding of this relationship, and what is covered by the EMO with the fee, and then what's in your budget that you're paying out?
The last 30 seconds of what you said.
I'm sorry, you couldn't hear me?
Is it me?
I think it's you, Mr. Lawrence. Can everyone else hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, Sherry.
Yes, loudly and clearly.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
All right, I can hear you now. Can you please repeat that?
Okay, sure. So the statement that we received, Mr. Lawrence, I believe came from the EMO themselves. And obviously they understand the relationship between the school and the board and the financial piece. I want to hear from you as a representative of the board, especially the treasurer, about what the relationship is between our Elite Male Academy board and Torchlight, the EMO, especially in regards to the fee structure.
I'm sorry, were you completed? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear. My apologies. I don't know why my computer continues to go in and out, and I'm like getting half of what you're saying. Hello?
I'm explain the relationship between the board, your board, and the EMO, and how you understand the fee structure and what the line items are in the budget.
Okay. So we are a governing board. It is Torchlight's responsibility to do the management. So we present the vision of what we expect the school to operate as. And it's Torchlight's responsibility to look at our vision and create a budget and a curriculum in regards to what we have presented to them. So this budget is basically what we believe is needed to actually bring forth that vision of what the board has decided for Power Lead Academy.
So did the board create the budget, or did the EMO create the budget?
The EMO created the budget because they have the expertise in regards to what it takes to run a school. What the board's responsibility is to look at that budget and tear it down, basically asking questions to see if what was presented to us is something that we can agree on.
Okay, so when I'm looking at this budget, the contract fees are listed. And when you look down at student accounting and financial, those are blank. So are we to assume that this contract fee, which should just be a percentage of the total revenue, is inclusive of the student accounting and financial services?
So the fees are pretty much spelled out in the contract. Because we are a small school, what we're going to be receiving is not that much as people would think. So we think that this budget pretty much represents what we're going to need to get the school up and running and to operate. We may or may not make that 10%, but because Torchlight serves as at risk, financial services and the student account as part of the contracting.
So I in the document that was submitted as follow-up, Torchlight was being compared to NHA. And that's why I'm trying to get this clarification from the board, because I want to make sure we understand. NHA is, you give everything. The board, the school gives every penny to the EMO, and they take care of everything. From what I read in the contract, that is not the way Torchlight operates. They are not you 100% give the funds over. So I guess you're just saying we trust them, they're going to take care of the budget.
No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that they present a budget to us. And what we do as a board, we actually look at the budget and we agree or disagree, and then we make the necessary adjustments. So the budget that they presented to us, we did our due diligence, and then we came to a consensus saying that, okay, we agree that this is sufficient for us to get the school up and running and to run the school for the first 5 years. Now, this budget isn't set in stone, so if we need to make adjustments as we learn the process and go through the process, we will make adjustments.
Okay. Yeah. CSAB, do we have any specific questions about the budget?
Yeah, this is Mr. Fran. While I pull the budget up here real quick, I lost my space here. I guess the questions I have is, and I commented on this last month. I think there's a real, need for this type of school for the targeted student population. When I look at the budget and I see, we're talking about 150 students year one, 12.5 instructors. I understand now Torchlight apparently is going to provide all the computers, so you took that line item out. But this is a unique school with a very targeted student population where teachers will need to be trained on cultural relevancy, as you put in the application. I mean, $2,000 per staff development for 12 and a half teachers, that doesn't include administrators, seems awfully low to me. When I look at that education plan, the Eureka Math and other resources they're going to use, yet in classroom technology, you only have 3,000 in software. I guess I still have the same questions I had last month, which is I'm not seeing that this is a sufficient amount of money in the budget to support professional development of the staff or instructional program.
So in regards to professional development, the management company is providing that. So we don't really have to budget that if that's being provided by the management company.
Can you share with us what type of professional development that what you're?
I'm sorry, you broke up.
Yeah, he's breaking up. Can you share professional development with your staff?
I'm sorry, I'm having a difficult time
I'm
hearing
having a
you.
difficult time too.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise.
Yeah, sounds like somebody's beating a tin can.
So Torchlight is providing the professional development for your staff. Can you talk to us a little bit about what is that professional development that they are providing to your staff? Specifically on what skills and knowledge are they providing that to you on?
He put it all on him.
And someone besides Mr. Lawrence can speak if they would like.
Yes, I'm Ms. Gray. I'm going to chime in here, please.
Okay.
Good morning. Torchlight is helping us a lot with the academic in terms of professional development. We also have slated a few dollars to bring professionals in. We will have a coach, an instructional coach that's also well-versed and will be providing professional development along with myself. with 24 years of experience, and also having achieved, also having achieved growth and extreme overgrowth. I'm losing my words, I'm sorry, in regards to the state. So we believe with those three components, with Torchlight helping us with the academic, professional development, the math and language arts, and some cultural competency, because that is their expertise, along with the professional coach that we will have for the team of teachers and myself, who are well-versed in the areas of professional development in regards to cultural competency, in regard to the Guerin Institute, and in regards to L training and academic literacy and math. So that's why there's only $2,000 slated there for outside professional development. We feel like we have, between the three of us, we'll have the resources available and the expertise to handle that.
So, Ms. Gray,
Yes.
the professional coach, are you saying that position is in the budget?
I'm sorry?
The professional coach, is that a staff member, somebody that's going to be on?
Yes, we do have a leadership coach. We do have a coach for the PLC for the students. Yeah, I mean for the teachers. Yes, that is someone that we have in the budget.
Okay, can you tell me where it is in the budget, because I'm sorry, I can't see it.
If someone else can point that out, because my screen is so small I can't even see it. But let me look through our papers.
I see a lead administrator and the financial officer. No, excuse me, clerical, and then core content, elective, exceptional, instructional support, all the way across is blank.
I think that in this instance, and I'm sorry, this is LaShare, right, the VP.
Thank you.
To chime in real quick, that particular person is actually, the information is going to be free online. We have different people, especially Mrs. Gray here, who is able to teach our teachers in different aspects, because she's going to have the training. And then she can take her training and her knowledge and teach it to the teachers that will be on staff.
And also with the programs that we're using, they also have free professional development online for each of the standards that we will be using through the state.
So, Ms. Gray,
yes.
Torchlight is providing the professional development for the academics, the math and language arts. Mm-hmm. That brings us to a question that came up in the last interview regarding the educational plan. Mm-hmm. So, Torchlight's providing that PD. What exactly is the ed plan?
And that is what we were looking for clarification on. So we had the 4 components that's been identified in the application in regards to standards, North Carolina course of study, the instructional materials, Learn Zillion for 3 to 6, K to 2 will be referring to a Louisiana Department of Education. And also with the materials for ELA, we'll be using, of course, Learn Zillion, the guidebooks. In regard to the math, Eureka Math has a pre-K to 12 curriculum. They also provide PDs that are free, and we'll be getting some books and support materials. There are 3 programs that we're going to be using through them, and the InSync program allows us to be able to, our students to show their work and communicate with teachers, whether they're online or whether they're in the classroom. They also have a Math Equip program that's a mode assessment program that's going to help us with data with our students, allowing us to teach and to differentiate. And then they have an Affirm program that we're going to be using that tracks student progress. And many of these materials through them are free. We also have had MOUs that from our community stating that they're going to be helping us with costs also because they want to see the school. I believe we've given 2 more MOUs that's going to be helping us, and 1 other was that didn't make it in time, but that was also submitted to Torchlight.
Yes, we do receive that.
Okay.
So are you, those programs you were speaking of, they all fall under Eureka Math. Is that what you were saying?
Those three do. The ELA is, again, Learn Zillion, 3 to 6. We will be using for K2, Louisiana Department of Education. They have an amazing free site, along with, as we use the North Carolina Course of Study for our standards, we're going to be using that program for K2. And some of the things that's going to be provided in that is literacy development, K2, listening, speaking, reading, writing, activities throughout the entire day. We also are going to have teachers that are going to model reading to them to develop student listening and comprehension, skills, storytelling, retelling lessons. They'll have 2 hours of literacy a day. With that, an hour in math and 45 minutes for science, language arts, and 45 minutes of science and math and social studies. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of nervous right now. And electives, it's based on needs because we are going to go up to an hour, but some of that will be based on the student, or enrichment based on the student.
So I guess for me, Ms. Gray, I don't know about my fellow board members, but I'm a little confused with regards to the ed plan. So I know this was part of the discussion last month, where we weren't getting clarity on exactly what was going to be taught. And I know you mentioned a lot of different programs. And I know, believe me, the budget's tight. You're looking for free resources, but, you know, it's kind of, you get what you pay for. So for me, the big question is, if Torchlight is providing the PD for your academics, are they not providing their, you know, ed model for you guys? Or are you guys going off script, so to speak, and trying to mold your own ed plan? And if that's the case, then I'm not sure how Torchlight can really back you up with a PD if it's not their model. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. But with those models, you still have standards across the board in regards to the teaching based on North Carolina standards. So for instance, most PLC teams that I've been a part of, that I will be teaching my staff about, they all come with different ideas. There'll be some people that are masters and there'll be some that not, but even the ones that not, based on the professional development that we're going to be given, the 10 hours before we even start school, along with PDs coming from these programs that we're going to be using, and Torchlight using what they know to work in regards to the math, because although they're different programs, they still will be based on North Carolina standards, and they will still be based on things that, you know, they've learned in their school as well as what our students will learn. And I see that every day. So the myriad will work, and we have 2 years. We will make sure that everything that we need to have in the house to make sure our students learn in regards to curriculum, we will have it. We have time. We know we're going to make, we don't know all now. We know we don't. But we do know what the programs provide us, and we know that the budget is tight, and that's why we have, our community is ready to support us financially. We know that there's some grants and things that we will be looking at. We will make sure we have a program that is culturally relevant for our students. We have a program that is different. If we were going to use the same that everyone else is using, then we would probably not have the same success, which right now is none. So we are willing to go out and look at Eureka, because we know this is a great program. We are learning we are really to put in the work to make sure our students get what they need. And I have had great success with teaching all of the subjects. So I'm not scared about what we will not have for our students. It's going to be there. We're going to make sure of that. And that's another role of the board to also make sure. So again, with Torchlight, with the programs that we have providing the PD, with my expertise, we're going to be okay. Our boys are going to learn and they're going to have success.
Hey, this is Guy. Also wanted to add it. If you look at our educational plan and the application, we have, and also the budget, we have 10,000 budgeted for Gurrian Institute. We have 2,000 for outside PD, and then we have Torchlight and Rochelle. So I think we're covered in that area.
I think the bigger question, Mr. Lawrence, is it looks like you're covered, definitely you're covered with Gurrian, and I know Ms. Gray is the professional, she's the expert in that area. But for me, you know, Ms. Gray just said we've got a program that is culturally relevant for our students, but listening to her describe it, it's in the works. It hasn't been planned out. So that makes me nervous when we're saying that we've got this strong program that's going to work great for male students. I just don't see where it's put out in the plan that way.
So I'm trying to understand what your questions are, because we know during the day what our day will look like for our students. But again, because we did not get a clarifying document from your board, we're trying to interpret in our way what you're asking, which is why I have what I have. So if you have specific questions, perhaps that's something we can answer.
Yeah, so we don't give a clarifying document, you do, and our question
I'm sorry. We were told that we would get a list of questions from you, specific questions as to what you had, what you wanted us to focus on when we came back, but we didn't receive that document.
Okay, well, I don't know what the mix-up was there, because at the end of our last interview, the questions were, and let me read them to you. Follow up, we need a copy of the ed plan and your curriculum. We need an understanding of the budget, what's going to be adjusted, and for you to show that you have an understanding of the EMO relationship. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to see further survey documents that proves parent interest, especially with the challenges of the targeted population. But my question is,
yes,
we are speaking about educating a very specific population. We're talking about males, and the ed plan should say X has been used with male students, and the results are overwhelmingly, supportive of their academic achievement, blah, 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 blah. Not, what we're seeing is that, we want to use this and we might use that and this, blah, blah, blah. The one piece that was loud and clear was that it would be culturally relevant, which I think it should be. So for me, that's where the disconnection is.
I like to describe a school day at our school at Prior Leaf. So we're going to have in the morning our breakfast as a school. We're going to have our circle of time where we exclaim one another, where we praise one another, where we talk about the theme of the day. Then we're going to go into our different classes. For some of them, it will be language arts. Like I said, for our K-2, they'll have activities all day in reading, writing, speaking, using different content across the board. Our 3 to 6 will go into specific classes, whether they be language arts, math, science, social studies, also electives, a cultural class, a leadership class, and they will have a class where they are taught how to analyze and inquiry, the art of questioning. Then at the end of the day, they'll have lunch, they'll have the outside time, they'll have opportunity for an hour of either remediation, or they'll have an hour of clubs, or sitting down and asking questions, or having some time further with their teacher. Now that's what our day looks like, and all of those things work. When the males are in their classes, they will be in their rotation. They will have differentiation. They will be leading instruction. I'm sorry?
you're doing a good job, Rochelle. One thing I really want to make sure that the board understands about the day is after they eat breakfast, that literacy piece is huge. It's the foundation of the start of the day. From there, they're going to have an energizing snack in the classroom. They're going to be able to have that, which is basically the eat smart, move more stimulus. They're going to have the math, which is, of course, the Khan Academy, the Eureka Math. After lunch, they're going to have recess where they're able to move around again. Social studies after that. And I will say this, because remediation and acceleration after that gives you the opportunity for children where you don't know where they're coming from. Some kids are at a higher learning level. Some kids, you've got to help them get there because they didn't have that teaching from before. That time gives the teacher opportunity to see where the students are and to help them in that area. Also, if you reflect back to the educational plan, all this is in there, but from 2:15 to 3:15 is the elective. We also have that Genius Hour. My sons were able to participate in Mrs. Gray's Genius Hour during the pandemic. When all the schools were closed down, they were able to work with her. She was able to work interstate. So she had kids from Virginia, from North Carolina, from everywhere, come online and express their genius. It built their confidence. I saw my kids being able to express what they love and they have passion about. And again, I'm a parent of 4 sons. I have been in public school. I've been in charter schools. My son loved Charlotte Lab School. They're disrupting education. They are really about literacy and just having hands-on, using the city as your classroom. But in the very beginning, when he first got there, they were struggling with that social piece. And so I understand and know, in Charlotte, they also had the Male Leadership Academy, which is an all-male preparatory school, but it's private school. Their curriculum was toward elite, more VP, more CEOs, more professional athletes, students. So they weren't geared toward the low income and the privileged students, but they had a long waiting list. And so we know that there's a need for that. We know that.
Wait, Ms. Wright, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are about 5-10 minutes over the 25 minutes allotted for question and answer. So yes, I think it's absolutely clear that we know the need is there. I appreciate your comments, but now I need to turn it back over to CSAB, and this will be CSAB only for your discussion and your pleasure. CSAB members.
Madam Chair, this is Hilda. I like the schedule, and it is clear that they have the day laid out, but I'm still struggling with a true educational plan.
Okay, so Ms. Polley says, the daily schedule, that was never a question, I don't think. We understood that. And we do appreciate the 2 hours devoted to literacy. So there's no questions regarding the schedule, the daily schedule, with the ed plan, okay? Others, please. Other board members? CSAB?
This is Bruce, friend. I tend to agree with Hilda. I want to support this school. I really do. I think that it's needed. And I hear the passion of the board members, but I just have questions. I have questions about an ed plan that seems to be a little bit scattered in my opinion. I go back to the discussions we had last month, like, using free resources is not a curriculum. And I just don't see the budget that supports some of these things. So that's my concern still.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Other comments?
Yes, this is Lynn, and I kind of echo Bruce's comments, and I just feel that there doesn't seem to be a clear understanding of the relationship of the EMO with as the board's responsibility to the budget. And there just also seems to be significant pieces missing out of the budget. And I think there needs to be a better understanding rather than just saying, oh, the EMO is going to provide this. I think these are definite things that need to be planned for and budgeted for. And another example too is that there isn't even a counselor that is in the budget to help with the school.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big concerns with the budget is, so the EMO charges their fee, which they have the right to, that's why they're the EMO. But then when I ask questions specific to the board about particulars like student accounting or financial, payroll, couple of other things, they're like, well, the EMO is going to cover that. Well, if you start chipping away all those things from the EMO's fee, then it ends up that the EMO is not getting a fee at all. And I think that if this is a true fee structure, then the EMO's fee should be specifically, we're hiring you to be our manager, this is your fee. And then the other items are provided for in the budget. Just like the computers, oh no, they're covering the computers, they're covering the furniture. And then the facility, I believe for the first year is $120,000. And I mean, we're talking about Charlotte. I don't know where you're going to get a facility for $120,000. But maybe I'm just wrong. But that's a few of my concerns with the budget. Anybody else have any remarks?
This is Joe here. I've been listening intently to all the discussion, and one thing I don't think was really discussed enough is that the issues we've had with the Charlotte Neck area in terms of what's differentiating a school to really attract the number of students that they like to have. I'm really concerned about the very low survey responses that they have, and the lack of what seems to be a real differentiation from other schools in the area. I think that's a grave concern that I have, that given the struggles we've had in that Charlotte Neck market with schools not meeting enrollment projections, this concerns me greatly with this particular application.
Thank you, Mr. Mamoni. And just to clarify, there are 8 schools, whether public LEA or public charter, within a 6-mile radius of the targeted area. So that's just for our information. So board, opening the floor for a motion. We need to either make a motion that we move Power Elite Male Academy forward in the ready to open process, or we do not move them forward.
This is Lynn Kroger. I make a motion that we do not move Power Elite forward.
Okay, Ms. Kroger has made a motion that we do not move Power Elite Male Academy forward in the RTO process. Do we have a second?
And Hilda Pele seconds.
Okay, Ms. Beccaro, if you could please take a roll call.
Jeanette Butterworth. Oh, she left. I'm sorry. She left early. Joel Ford. Bruce Friend.
I support the motion.
Lynn Kroger. Lynn Kroger.
Sorry. I support the motion.
Thank you. Hilda Parlay.
Approve the motion.
Alex Quigley.
Approve.
Sherry Reeves.
Approve.
Cheryl Turner.
She's recused, Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Heather Von Cannon.
Approve.
And Stephen Walker.
No.
Okay, the motion passes. Power Elite Male Academy will not move forward in the ready to open process.
And to make that clear, Ashley, I voted no on the motion. I would move them forward.
Yes, got it, Stephen. Okay, we will move. Would you guys like to take a maybe 10-minute break before the next interview?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's take a 10-minute break, and that will put us, actually, we're scheduled for 11:25, so would you like to come back at 11:25 or 11:15?
11:15 would be better.
11:15, yeah, let's keep moving.
Okay, so we will reconvene in 10 minutes at 11:15. CSAB, just let us know if you'd like Melanie to give the introduction.
Okay, Ashley and Melanie, Alex is not feeling well, so I'm going to take this one.
Okay.
Is everybody back?
Think so.
It looks like it, yes.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So up next, we have another second round applicant, Central Carolina Academy Charter out of Lee County. And just a reminder that the options for the round are to advance to SBE for approval or advance to SBE for denial upon completion of the second round interview. So we have Lee County here. They do not have a site identified. They have slated, though, that they are looking for a 50 to 75 acre campus with the capacity of circa 700 people. And then their prototype being the Chatham Charter. And so, Ashley, if you want to go to the next slide. In year one, looks like we're talking about grades 6 to 10 with approximately 282 44 students per grade in 6 through 8, and then 75 per grade in grades 9 through 10. And then they advance to year 4 at 664 with the expansion to high school in grades 9 through 12 staggered. And their capacity is in year 4 with 664. They will provide food service. They do not have a transportation plan. They will offer transportation accommodations for special education students. They will be using the weighted lottery, again, identifying a 50 to 75 acre property, no LEA impact submitted, second round applicant, and again, they're using the Chatham Charter as support for the application process, and the completeness is yes. And so, Ms. Turner, if you're ready to go.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, is the Board of Central Carolina here?
Yes, we're here. This is Jeff Fry. I'm the president of the board, and I'm also accompanied by other members of my board, as well as current members from the Replication School, Charter Chatham. Or
Okay,
Chatham Charter, I'm sorry.
You can go ahead and make your opening presentation.
Okay, well, I did want to thank you again for allowing us to come back. As we shared during the first meeting, we're very excited about the opportunity. Through interactions with the community, there is definitely identified as a need and a welcoming to this idea. So as I mentioned, I'm Jeff Fry, and I would like to just quickly allow my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Ashley Davenport.
Carson Wilson.
I'm Anna Stetson.
And good morning. My name is Bill Hagas, and I'm the president of the Chatham Charter School Board.
Hi, I'm Paul Bednar. I'm the treasurer of the Chatham Charter School Board.
Yeah, so I think that's all the introductions. We did want to clarify, so we think there was actually an error regarding the transportation. Our plan is to actually provide transportation down the road. We have an integration plan that would incorporate that. So just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, are you ready for us to start asking questions?
I believe so.
Well, my understanding, I was not here at the meeting last time, but my understanding is there were a couple of areas that needed some clarification. A major area had to do with the governance and this consortium that you're putting together and how that would work, given that they are two separate boards. So if you could talk, and I understand the Chatham Board Chair is here as well. If you could talk a little bit about how that works.
Sure. So, and as you just highlighted, so with the Chatham board being here, I think that right out of the gate highlights the strong commitment and partnership that we're all going into this with. So the vision is the Central Carolina Academy will be utilizing a proven model that's been established here at Charter. But there will be some, we recognize that with the Central Carolina Academy being based in Lee County, it will obviously need a Lee County perspective. We'll need the connections with the community and really understanding the pulse of the community. So we think it's really a win-win situation in that Lee County gets to model and partner with an organization that's already proven, but at the same time for the Chatham Charter to be able to also have colleagues and a fresh set of eyes whenever we have issues, or maybe just with natural evolution of wanting to raise the bar and improve systems.
So I get the replication thing, and having the people who you are replicating to assist you with keeping the model. I get that. However, the population you are planning to serve does not match the population that Chatham currently serves. And there are going to be things that Chatham doesn't need to do that you will need to do. And what happens when the Chatham board isn't interested in doing those things? They don't need to. And you need to do something different. Who decides what happens at Central Carolina?
Well, so again, I think having the two boards gives you that autonomy. So there will potentially be things that the process is different, because like you said, our audience is different. So we recognize that going into this. So in regards to the individual operations for each entity, those would be directed by the respective boards.
So your staff's being supervised by the person from Chatham. So like in the boots on the ground, what happens when what's going on at those two schools is not the same, or does it need to be the same? Does that force Central Carolina to do whatever Chatham's doing because they're being supervised by the Chatham director?
No, and I think, so again, having that common person or that central service area, there will be a clear understanding going into this that while there will be some commonalities and things that are proven successful that will leverage, replication of the high school academic program is a great example. But having that common guidance from someone who has been there, done that, and will understand the unique pulse of each of the different communities and the needs. So we don't foresee that being an issue at all. And the person, Dr. E, that will be participating in that role has such a strong history in managing a diverse group coming from Guilford County. So he's definitely proven, has the track record to be able to be flexible and agile as there's different needs.
Let me give you an example of something I've lived, why I know why it is I'm concerned about this. So the model that you're replicating is a phenomenal model, and they've been very, very successful. And it will be a wonderful thing for the kids that you choose to serve. But the high school college model that Chatham uses, their kids get to school on their own, get to the college on their own. You probably aren't going to have that same option. If 50% of your kids are low income, they probably are not going to be able to provide their own transportation to and from, which then affects how you structure that setup. So we do that at our school. Our kids can't afford to get there. We have to provide the transportation. So we had to work out a special arrangement with our community college that allowed our students to always take classes in the first block so that we could provide transportation. That's not going to be an issue for Chatham. And those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. What are you, with Chatham running the model, are those kinds of things going to get addressed?
And perhaps this is Bill Haggis from Chatham Charter. So what I'd like to say is our students don't necessarily provide their own transportation. We already do that at Chatham Charter. We run a shuttle bus. So having something like that, in Sanford, where the main campus is, I think for us, I think that's something that it's actually closer for the Central Carolina folks. So it's actually easier for them to get to classes than it is for us. Most of, and we also have a lot of the courses that are being run online, obviously now. Yeah. But one other thing that I'd like to just sort of address before is that I don't think that the Chatham Charter Board and is going to necessarily dictate, or it wouldn't not dictate at all what Central Carolina's two schools with an aligned philosophy. And I think that having